This podcast is created for those seeking a more fulfilling spiritual life. Teachings and lectures can often feel lengthy or complex, so these conversational episodes aim to present timeless wisdom in a relatable and accessible way, making it easier to connect and grow. Thank you and happy soul searching.
Welcome in, everybody. We're diving into the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh today.
Oh, yeah. Always a good time.
You know, one thing that really stood out to me going through these is just how practical his wisdom is.
Absolutely.
You know, he gives us real ways to...
Being down to earth.
Yeah.
Really down to earth.
Work with all the stuff we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Like dealing with those intense emotions,
Yeah.
you know, that can just feel overwhelming.
Absolutely. And he had this amazing way of making, some of these profound Buddhist teachings accessible to everyone, even if you've never sat on a meditation cushion before.
Exactly. He doesn't just throw out these abstract ideas. He's like, here's how you do it.
Exactly.
Here's what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And
like how to deal with suffering, to find true happiness.
And even grasp this concept of emptiness, which is one of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right. So
dive in.
One of the things that found really helpful is the way Thich Nhat Hanh talks about dealing with like those really intense emotions that we all experience.
He has this great analogy where he compares strong emotions to a storm raging around us.
Great.
And so often we get caught up in the treetops of our thoughts, just getting tossed around by all the anxiety, the fear, all the things that we experience in our lives.
I've so been there, feeling like I'm about to lose it.
Yeah.
And he says there's a way to find that grounding.
Yes.
Even when everything feels like it's falling apart around you.
And he says it starts with something so simple.
Oh, really?
Deep belly breathing.
Oh, wow.
It's about focusing on the rise and fall of your abdomen.
Okay.
Really feeling that breath deep within your body. Mm-hmm. It sounds so basic, but it's that anchor to the present moment, that connection to our physical selves that can really help us start to calm the storm.
That's so powerful.
It is.
Because, I think so often we think of mindfulness as something we do like for 10 minutes in the morning on an app or something.
Yeah, just check it off the to-do list.
Right, exactly. And he's saying, no, this is something you can...
Yeah, it's about weaving it into.
Weave in.
Yeah, the fabric of our lives, moment by moment.
All day long.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And he even talked about how technology could actually help with this.
Oh, wow. How's
imagine your phone, instead of being a source of distraction, gently reminding you to take a breath, to reconnect with your inner strength when you're feeling stressed.
That's using technology for good.
It is.
I love that it's like using the tools of the modern world to access this ancient wisdom.
Exactly.
Now, Thich Nhat Hanh doesn't just talk about weathering the storms of our emotions. He also talks about what it means to live a truly meaningful life.
Right. And he points out something that I think a lot of us can relate to, which is that we chase happiness in external achievements.
Yeah.
Whether it's a bigger house, a fancier car,
more recognition.
More money.
Yeah, all that stuff.
But, so often we find that those things don't bring lasting fulfillment.
It's like we're always striving for the next thing, but never really arriving.
Right. It's like we're on this treadmill. And we just keep running and running and running.
But never getting anywhere.
But never actually getting to where we want to go.
So what's the antidote?
Well, he points us inward.
Okay.
He suggests that true meaning comes from cultivating our spiritual side.
Okay.
And from acting with compassion.
Okay. So it's not about ignoring the material world.
No.
But it's about shifting our focus from what we can get,
from getting to giving,
what we can give.
Yes.
Interesting. So you're saying instead of looking for our own happiness directly, we find it by contributing to the well-being of others.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, realizing that our actions have a ripple effect, that even small acts of kindness can create a more compassionate world.
I like that.
And, he says when we dedicate ourselves to alleviating suffering in the world around us, we naturally tap into this deep well of purpose and satisfaction.
That's such a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
It's not about just feeling good. It's about doing good.
Exactly.
Now, Thich Nhat Hanh also dives into some concepts.
Yes.
That might sound a little intimidating at first.
Yeah, yeah.
Things like the Three Doors of Liberation. I'll be honest, even I was a little lost when I first came across these.
Absolutely. But you know what's so fascinating about Thich Nhat Hanh?
What's that?
Is that he doesn't present these as these lofty philosophical ideas detached from daily life.
Right.
He grounds them in experience.
Yeah.
You know, these doors, emptiness, signlessness, aimlessness.
Right.
These are really about the insights we can gain through mindful observation.
So it's not just like heady concepts. It's about how we actually see the world.
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe we can break this down a little bit.
Sure.
What does he mean by emptiness?
Yeah.
Because that can sound kind of bleak.
It can.
To someone who's not familiar with Buddhist thought.
It's not about things being empty.
Yeah.
In a nihilistic way.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that things aren't inherently fixed or permanent. They're constantly changing, interconnected, dependent on other things.
So give me an example.
Yeah. Think about a flower.
Okay.
It seems like a single separate thing, but it's dependent on the soil, the rain, the sunlight, so many other factors.
All these things working together
to
make this beautiful flower.
And seeing this emptiness, this lack of inherent independent existence can be incredibly freeing.
So it's almost like a shift in perception.
It is.
Seeing the world with fresh eyes.
Yes.
And recognizing that things aren't always what they seem.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. What about signlessness?
So think of that as a challenge.
Okay.
To look beyond labels and categories. We tend to get so caught up in the signs, the surface appearances of things, that we miss the deeper reality.
Okay.
You know, we might see someone with a certain job title. And make all sorts of assumptions about them.
Right. Or we might get fixated on a physical flaw.
Yeah.
And miss someone's inner beauty.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how these concepts can actually change our everyday experience.
They can.
What about aimlessness?
So aimlessness.
That sounds almost counterintuitive.
It does.
Especially in our achievement-oriented.
Result-oriented, yes. It's not about having no goals or direction.
Sure.
It's about letting go of clinging to specific outcomes.
Okay.
And being open to the unfolding of life.
Interesting.
It's about embracing the present moment without constantly striving for some future state of perfection.
So it's about being present and letting go of the need to control everything.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like that Zen saying,
what's that?
Let go or be dragged.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So aimlessness is about kind of surrendering. To the flow of life.
To the flow, trusting that even when things don't go according to our plan, there's a wisdom unfolding that we might not be able to see in the moment.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
These doors of liberation are really kind of shifting my perspective on how I see the world.
Yeah.
It's like Thich Nhat Hanh is giving us these new lenses through which to experience reality.
A new way of looking at things. Yeah. And those lenses can help us understand and overcome suffering.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is another key theme in Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings.
Suffering.
Yes. He doesn't shy away from the difficult aspects of life.
Right.
He acknowledges that suffering is a part
of life,
of the human experience.
He even goes so far as to say that suffering is essential for happiness.
It sounds paradoxical.
It does sound kind of.
But when you really think about it...
Yeah, when you think about it, it makes sense.
Explain.
Well, because without experiencing darkness, we can't fully appreciate the light.
Yeah, that's true.
Without understanding suffering. We can't cultivate true compassion.
Okay, I'm starting to see it now. So it's like when you've gone through a really difficult experience, like a loss or a heartbreak or failure, and you come out the other side with a deeper sense of empathy for others who are going through something similar. Exactly. Thich Nhat Hanh isn't saying, go seek out suffering. But he's saying embrace it as a path to growth.
Embrace the suffering.
Yeah. He uses the analogy of the lotus flower. Which needs the mud to blossom.
So it's like our challenges, those things we often try to avoid, can actually be the fertile ground for transformation.
For incredible transformation.
Which leads to
greater understanding, wisdom, and compassion.
That's beautiful.
It is.
So I guess that brings us back to mindful breathing.
It does.
Thich Nhat Hanh says that, when those strong emotions arise, we should just drop everything.
Stop.
Sit down. Hey, breathe.
Breathe. He emphasizes deep belly breathing.
Right.
Focusing your attention
on that.
On the rise and fall of your abdomen.
Right. It's like anchoring yourself in the present moment.
Yes.
Instead of getting swept away
by that storm of thoughts and feelings.
Yeah. And remember how we were talking about technology being used for mindfulness?
Yes.
Like imagine a mindfulness app.
Yeah.
That just sent you little reminders.
Gentle reminders throughout the day
Yeah.
just to pause.
To pause and take a few breaths.
Yes.
I love that.
And he even shared this beautiful story of a mother teaching her child to breathe through a tantrum.
Oh, wow.
Imagine the power of that.
Yeah.
Sharing these tools for emotional regulation.
Right. From a young age.
With the next generation.
That's powerful. So it's about creating a sense of
connection and presence.
Even in the midst of chaos.
Even in the midst of chaos.
Yeah. And in doing so, we create a space for
understanding and healing.
For ourselves and for others.
Exactly.
This has been so enlightening.
It has.
Thich Nhat Hanh offers such a profound perspective on how to live a more peaceful and meaningful life.
Yes.
Now, Thich Nhat Hanh also talks about these fetters that keep us bound to suffering.
Yes.
What does he mean by that?
So he's talking about these deeply ingrained patterns of thinking and behaving that keep us trapped in cycles of unhappiness.
Okay, so like what?
Things like craving.
Okay.
Anger, ignorance.
Well, those are big ones.
They are.
And he uses that great analogy for craving.
Yes.
It's like a dog chasing a bone. Never finding true satisfaction.
Never finding true satisfaction.
We think if we just get that next thing, the promotion, the gadget, the relationship, we'll finally be happy.
Right, but lasting happiness doesn't come from external things.
It comes from within.
It comes from cultivating inner peace.
Okay.
And understanding.
So how do we break free from these fetters?
Well, Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes understanding impermanence.
Okay.
Letting go of clinging. And recognizing our interconnectedness.
Okay, break that down for me.
So he reminds us that everything is in constant flux.
Okay, nothing stays the same.
Nothing stays the same. That clinging to things creates suffering.
Okay.
And that we are all interconnected. Our well-being is dependent on the well-being of others.
Wow, these are some powerful insights.
They are.
I feel like they could really help us loosen the grip of those negative patterns.
Yeah.
And experience greater freedom and well-being.
And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
I think so.
To live a life that's not just free from suffering.
Right.
But full of meaning, connection, and joy.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It really is. It's amazing how much we've covered in this deep dive into Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings.
I know, it's incredible.
We've talked about dealing with those difficult emotions.
Yeah.
Finding meaning in life. And even touched on some of those deeper concepts.
Right.
Like the 3 Doors of Liberation.
Yeah.
The fetters that keep us bound to suffering.
It's a testament to the richness of his teachings. Even just in these excerpts from his lectures, there's so much wisdom.
Packed in.
So many insights that can really change how we see the world, how we live our lives.
And what's so remarkable is that even though he's drawing from this ancient Buddhist wisdom, it feels incredibly relevant to our modern world.
Absolutely.
He's not asking us to retreat from the world.
No.
He's saying engage with it.
Engage.
But do it in a more mindful,
more
passionate way.
Exactly. And that brings us back to one of the most powerful ideas we've talked about today.
What's that?
Happiness isn't about avoiding suffering. It's about transforming it.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that those difficult experiences, those things that cause us pain, can actually be opportunities.
For what?
For growth, for greater understanding.
It's like he's saying that running away from suffering actually prevents us from developing compassion and love.
It prevents us from really connecting with our true nature.
And it's through facing those challenges that we really discover our strength.
Our resilience.
Yeah, and our capacity for connection.
Well, he even challenges the traditional idea.
Of what?
Of a kingdom of God or a Buddha land.
Okay.
As this place that's free from suffering. He says it's not about escaping suffering.
It's about learning to make use of it.
Exactly.
That's a really different way of looking at things.
It is.
So if happiness isn't the absence of suffering, but the ability to transform it.
Yeah.
How can we use our own challenges as stepping stones?
That's the question.
To greater understanding and compassion.
I think Thich Nhat Hanh gives us some really powerful tools to work with.
Like what?
We've already talked about mindful breathing, the importance of cultivating compassion,
right,
and recognizing the impermanence of all things.
These are all things we've been talking about.
And these practices can really help us navigate those difficult emotions, connect with our true nature, and find meaning even in the midst of...
Even when things are hard.
Life's inevitable ups and downs.
Yeah, this has been so inspiring.
It has.
And I have a feeling this is just the beginning.
The beginning of the journey.
Of a much longer journey. For a lot of our listeners out there.
I hope so. I encourage everyone listening to explore Thich Nhat Hanh's work further. His teachings offer a wealth of practical wisdom for living a more mindful compassionate, and fulfilling life.
And remember, this journey of transformation is ongoing.
It is.
It's not about reaching some perfect state.
No.
It's about continuing to learn.
Learning.
And grow.
Growing and opening our hearts.
To the world around us.
Exactly.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
On this deep dive into the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, may you find peace and joy.
Yes.
In every moment.